Good day. My name is Teresa Fredericks from Growing Businesses Using Projects, bringing you yet another video, this time on the Schedule Management Plan. My intent with this and every video is to ensure that the ordinary person can understand what is being taught and apply it. So what is the agenda? I'll be looking at what is the Schedule Management Plan and its purpose, the Schedule Management Plan, key facts, key components of the Schedule Management Plan, and the main source of information is going to be PMBOK 6. So the Schedule Management Plan is the main output of Plan Schedule Management. Plan Schedule Management defines schedule management approach for the entire project. It is the process of establishing the policies, procedures, and documentation for planning, developing, managing, executing, and controlling the project schedule. So let's look at some key facts about the Schedule Management Plan. I can say at the onset, it should be called Schedule Management Approach because it's really the approach to doing schedule management. It is a component of the project management plan that establishes the criteria and the activities for developing, monitoring, and controlling the schedule. It is not a schedule for the project, but a guideline as to how the team would undertake the various tasks. It does not include the schedule baseline. So this is the template that I'm sharing with you, and I'll go through all its areas. There's the introduction, the approach, schedule model maintenance, schedule control management, and schedule reporting. So let's start with the introduction. I like with all my plans to get a general idea of what the project is about. And you have to remember at this point we would have had a charter that would give a lot of high level information and from which we will get the milestones. We also would have completed scope, so we would have scope definition, WBS and WBS dictionary. We are now at the start of planning schedule management, and we are planning the approach to the entire area of schedule management. So we need some general information on the project and the project and business objective. Purpose of the schedule management plan. Project summary, assumptions, constraints, risk. If you have any risk assessment, always remember the key risks, especially to the project schedule, should be here. Quality and relevant standards. Scope details with respect to the project and the schedule management plan. Key stakeholders and their requirements. So that will give us a good general idea to kick off the plan. And the first main area of the plan is the approach. This first section identifies the processes for developing the schedule, describes the method for progressing the schedule, inclusive of controlling the schedule, schedule milestones, and schedule development rules and responsibilities of team members. So that general approach is where we kick off. So in the first area, we're going to be looking at scheduling process description. This discusses each of the schedule processes that will be used on the project. It can include the main inputs. For example, in plan schedule management, you use inputs from scope management. It discusses the development of the schedule, its approval, baselining, etc., and its controlling process. As we continue the schedule process description, we note that it is therefore the approach not only to the development of the schedule, but its approval, baselining, and controlling. Within each process, you can discuss the activities, tools, and techniques that will be used to get the main outputs. So as we continue this first area, we will look at schedule model development. This includes the scheduling methodology and scheduling tool required for the development of the model. In this area, describe what scheduling methodology you use. For example, a system of process used to create, implement, and track the progress of a schedule. You must choose a scheduling method that best fits the needs of your project. The methodology may include whether, for instance, you want to use Agile or Sprint, which is also mentioned in the release and iteration. If you are using predictive or waterfall and are planning the whole schedule up front, this should be mentioned, and as important, how changes to the schedule will be handled. As we continue with the scheduling methods, we will look at some of the main ones. You have bar charts or Gantt charts. I think Gantt charts are one of the most common. It's used to track duration and sequence. It provides a view of activities from start to finish. It shows where tasks overlap and where one task must finish before another can start, etc. Then you have the critical path method. It is the minimum project duration and determines the amount of scheduling flexibility on the logical network parts within the schedule model. It uses a single time estimate. Then you have program evaluation review technique. PERT is a chart, is a network diagram used to create the project schedule. A network diagram allows project managers to create project schedules, given project timeline, estimated duration of tasks, task dependencies, and find the critical part of a project. This uses 3-time estimates, reactivity, completion. As we continue with methods, we look at the critical chain method, which is another scheduling method, which allows the project team to place buffers on any project schedule path to account for limited resources and project uncertainties. Then you have fast tracking and crashing, sometimes called duration compression. Fast tracking involves the performance of activities in parallel, whereas crashing involves the addition of resources to a project. They're used to shorten the schedule. You also have stimulation, which is used when there are unknown variables that can adversely impact completing dates unattainable. Continue on with the tools. You realize now in your project you don't have to use all of them. You have to choose which one are relevant or which ones are relevant to your project. A very good one is often used is project management software, used to help project managers to track project tasks and schedules. They allow for better project planning, resource management, tracking task performances, ease of communication, better task management, budgeting, and reporting. They can go from simple, which are checklists, task lists, or calendars, to robust tools such as MS Project, Primavera, etc. Of its importance is the data put in it. So you can use the software, you can get a lot of benefits from it. But if you put rubbish in, you will get rubbish out. Microsoft Excel is often recommended for smaller projects, especially where people do not understand how to operate MS Project. Continuing with the tools again, we have resource optimization techniques in which the start and finish dates are adjusted to balance demand for resources with the available supply. And then you have earned value management, which is used to measure the amount of work completed using the budget, cost, and time metrics. And we will wrap up the whole schedule model development area with some key aspects that you have to consider. You have release and iteration length, which indicates the time box periods for releases, waves, and iterations when using an adaptive life cycle, namely durations during which the team works steadily towards completion of a goal, for example, 2 weeks. And then you have units of measure. Now, if you're looking at resources and you're looking at staff resources, you may use staff hours or staff days. If you look so concrete, you can use cubic yards. But basically, these guidelines on how estimated should be stated. Units for estimation must be documented. How the project should be ready. The length of the project may be scheduled for a month. Schedule in months if it's a very long project, in weeks, or a short project in days if you're baking a cake, in minutes. Then level of accuracy of the estimates. Remember, when you're doing activity duration estimates, you have to decide what level of accuracy you're going for. Is it plus 10 or plus or minus 10%? Now, organizational procedures links. What is the link to talk to procurement, or the link to talk to functional management to get people on the team, or the link to reserve physical resources? The work breakdown structure provides the framework for the schedule management plan, allowing for consistency with the estimates and resulting schedules. Some of our organizational systems have databases, ERPs, to which scheduling software is linked. And the last two areas of the plan, schedule of approach, you have to deal with the milestones. The project charter defines the summary milestone schedules that will influence the management of the project schedule. And then you have to deal with roles and responsibilities. Even though the project manager assumes overall responsibility for schedule management, there is the need to document the roles and responsibilities of the people with schedule management responsibilities. We are now in our third big area, schedule model maintenance. Here we are looking at the process used to update the status and record progress of the project in the schedule model during execution. A key question is, how will you maintain the schedule? What is the process like? Will you do versioning or baselining? There needs to be a way to communicate and capture that and see the before and after picture. Now, what are we saying? As you go through execution, you have to update your schedule in terms of putting in actual data. This task was to take 10 days, it took 10 or 12 or things like that. That is updating the schedule. The fourth big area is controlling the schedule. First, you have to have control thresholds. These are variances for monitoring performance. They may be specified to indicate an agreed amount of variation to be allowed before some action is taken. Thresholds are typically expressed as a percentage deviation from parameters established in the baseline plan. If activities are late, at what point does it become an issue or risk to the project? So there may be a threshold of a percentage. Or in earned value management, we'll do a schedule variance or schedule performance index. So it's not every deviation that you will pay attention to, but those that are above your threshold. Planning for how variances will be managed. For instance, is there a contingency budget that will be used to acquire and assign additional resources? All of this goes into your management. We have to identify schedule change management procedures. When there's an approved change request or when there's a variance, existing schedules usually need an update. How to change the schedule and its procedures must be included in the plan. A general rule is that boundaries or thresholds are set, and a schedule change which exceeds these boundaries must have a change request submitted. So that if you allow 1 day variance and it is 5 days, you have to look at it and see what needs to be done because it's above your schedule, your threshold. Process for dealing with scope changes. Sometimes we have big scope changes that will impact the schedule. You have to have the process. You may have a change control board established. What is the process? Who identifies the need for a change? Who assesses it? And all of that has to be in the schedule management plan. And another big area is the area of measuring performance. How will we do it? Is it weekly, monthly? Now you may say, but haven't we been doing updates? But with updates, we are updating on what has happened. When we're measuring performance, we're measuring it against the baseline. So what did we plan to do, and have we done what we planned to do? And you have rules for performance measurement. It may be earned value or other physical measurement rules. You may be just doing inspections and checking against what you had planned. The fifth and final area is reporting. And here you can have various types and size and complexity of reports based on your project. You can use bar charts, activity lists, network diagrams, dashboards, scorecards, narratives, but you may want to mix different formats, and you should check different formats for different audiences. If you like my content, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe.